All right, I have a quick video to go with the notes for today. And so if we go to the top of page 3 is where we want to be. So yesterday we did slide and divide. I have one last thing to teach you for a factoring method that you can use on your Go Formative. And it's called the difference of squares. And you have learned this before, but it's probably been a while, so I have no problem going back over it with you. But to get my point across, I'm going to first start off by multiplying these two factors. I want to show you where this happens. So I'm going to pick a method that I want to use to multiply these two things together. If you prefer the box method, you can. I don't personally prefer it. I'm going to use FOIL. And so remember, everything in this binomial needs to get multiplied by everything in this binomial. And so to do that, I use arrows to help me. I know that this x needs to get multiplied by this x here and this -3. And so I'm going to write that out. X times x. And we always add everything plus this x times -3. I'm following the arrows. All right. Now I need to get this 3 and multiply it by each thing in this binomial. So plus 3 times x, right? Following my first blue arrow, plus 3 times -3, following my second blue arrow. And if I clean this up a little bit, I'll get x squared. X times x is x squared. -3 times x is just -3x. Positive 3 times x is positive 3x. And positive 3 times -3 is -9. Right? We went over this on Friday. So if you're super confused, go back to Friday's videos. Okay, and then I know that I need to clean up my middle two terms. They should combine. So my middle two terms, -3x plus 3x. Well, those are going to cancel each other out. So I'm going to be left with x squared minus 9. -3 plus 3 is 0. Okay? So x squared minus 9 is what I'm left with. So when you come across a problem that has 2 terms instead of 3, and they're being subtracted, you're going to want to try the difference of two squares method. And I will show you exactly how we do it in an example, but it's showing you that in a difference of two squares, the middle two terms cancel each other out. So difference of two squares, we have something that looks like this. We're going to have a first term squared minus a second term squared. When we have something that looks like that, that's going to equal, the way we factor it is going to equal a plus b and a minus b. So when I have a number that's squared subtracted by another term that's squared, I can factor it by taking the square root of each one and adding and subtracting them together. If you're super confused, that is fine. Watch this example. All right, so I'm doing my Go Formative. This example, this direction says factor using difference of squares, but on your Go Formative, you're not sure when to use difference of squares. Well, the key features are, instead of having 3 terms, usually it's like x squared plus x plus 2. We only have 2 terms. This is 3 terms, 1, 2, 3. There's only 2 here, 1, 2. So that's a good indicator, right? And also the 2 terms, if you have 2 terms, they need to be subtracted by one another. It doesn't work with addition. Once you notice you're going to try difference of two squares, here's how you do it. You are going to take the square root of each thing. I'm going to take the square root of x squared and the square root of 25. Now, we do not take the square root of a negative number. We leave that negative out there. We don't ever do anything with it. If you try to take the square root of 25, your calculator will, if you try to take the square root of -25, your calculator will say there's an error. All right, the square root of x is equal to x always. The square root of x squared, I'm sorry, is always going to be x. And the square root of 25 is 5. So I have the 2 square roots of each are x and 5. And here's how we formulate our answer. I have x plus 5 and x minus 5. You take your 2 things and you add them together. Here's my 2 terms. You take them together and add them, and you take them together and subtract them. And that's it. But it's a little different in the next example, which I will have one last short video to show you that. So please watch the next one.